If we talk about the vocal cord palsies, we have to first know about the nerves. We have two main nerves, recurrent laryngeal and superior laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal nerve has two branches, right and left. Left has a longer course, so it is more commonly involved. And this superior laryngeal nerve has two branches, internal laryngeal nerve and external laryngeal nerve. This internal laryngeal nerve is sensory and external is motor. So if we talk about the nerve supply, so we have three parts in the vocal cord: supraglottis, glottis and subglottis in the larynx. The supraglottis sensory supply is by internal laryngeal nerve, and glottis and subglottis sensory supply is by recurrent laryngeal nerve. If we talk about the motor supply is by uh, all the muscles are supplied by recurrent laryngeal nerve except cricothyroid, which is supplied by the external laryngeal nerve branch of superior laryngeal nerve. If we talk about vocal cord palsies, we have mainly four types of palsies: unilateral abductor and bilateral abductor. These abductor palsies are because of recurrent laryngeal nerve involvement, and unilateral complete and bilateral complete, in this both recurrent laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal nerves are involved. So if we have unilateral abductor paralysis, so most commonly left recurrent laryngeal nerve is involved. The cord position here is paramedian in position. So because of it is paramedium, because see, recurrent laryngeal nerve can't act, so only cricothyroid is acting, and it makes the vocal cord mild adduction is there. So the voice may be normal or it can be hoarseness present, but as it is unilateral, this hoarseness will be ultimately compensated. There is no dyspnea or aspiration, and we treatment is only wait and watch, and it has not very much complications. If we talk about bilateral abductor palsy, so both the recurrent laryngeal nerves cannot work. So because of that, the vocal cords are in a paramedian position. Voice is good here, but there is dyspnea present because of involvement of both the vocal cords, and aspiration is absent. And the management here is as tracheostomy is done, and we will do lateralization, that is type 2 thyroplasty. If we talk about the unilateral complete palsy, it is because of the mainly left side involvement of both recurrent laryngeal and superior laryngeal nerve. Here the vocal cord position is cadaveric. So here we can see cadaveric position, and the patient will come with first with aphonia, then dysphonia can be seen. Here dyspnea is not seen, but there can be occasional risk of aspiration, or it can be usually normal, but there can be occasional risk. Here also we will, as it is unilateral, the other side will compensate and we will wait and watch. And here we will do medialization of the vocal cord, that is type 1 thyroplasty. If we talk about bilateral complete, here both recurrent laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal nerve of both the sides are involved, and both there is an intermediate position, that is the vocal cords are neither abducted nor adducted, and there is a neutral position of the vocal cord. So in this, as there is a bilateral palsy, so we will see aphonia here, and dyspnea is absent, but aspiration risk is very high. So because of that, it is very important to manage it by tracheostomy and epiglottoplexy. If we talk about superior laryngeal nerve palsy, it can be internal laryngeal nerve or external laryngeal nerve. So as we know, this internal laryngeal nerve was supplying the supraglottis above the glottis. So there can be occasional aspiration, and ipsilateral acute position can be there also. And vocal cords are now in external laryngeal nerve. Because of cricothyroid, which is a tensor of vocal cord, we will get a relaxed vocal cord, and here which will not increase, pitch will change due to cricothyroid muscle, and here that is not occurring. So we will do speech therapy in those palsies. So this was in brief about the all the vocal cord palsy. And one more thing, we have a Wegemann Gross and Grossman hypothesis, which is explaining the position of cord in recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy, and it states that the complete paralysis of recurrent laryngeal nerve results in paramedian cord due to adduction by intact cricothyroid muscle. Thank you. please subscribe for more videos.